Assalamu alaikum. This is the picture of New York City before phone arrives. And this is the current New York City. As you can see that every single people are staring at their phone and they're searching for new notifications. And the way we have been using our phone, this is definitely easy to say that we have become addicted to phone. And according to few data that I have collected so far, that an average phone user actually touch his or her phone more than 2,600 times a day. That means we actually touch our phone literally every single time. On an average, we waste more than 7 hours a day staring at that screen. And the Gen Z, the boomers, the most progressive generation so far, the Gen Z, which is pretty controversial after the student protest in Bangladesh, they actually waste more than 9 hours a day staring at the phone. When you are wasting 9 hours a day on that phone unnecessarily, this is definitely easy to say that phone is having some bad impact on your future, on your study, on your job, but also it is having some horrible side effects on your human brain. And very few people are talking about this thing. And so today I've decided to make a video on phone addiction, because the phone addiction is currently the most trending topic. In this video, we're gonna discuss a little bit about why we're getting addicted to phone. So let's go.
More than 2/3 of Americans have
to make those human connections by releasing dopamine in the reward pathway.
Sounds, animations, endless content, notifications.
On today's Mental Health and Me, we're taking a closer look at our phones, specifically TikTok.
Well, brain science behind it is that we see dopamine, which is your feel-good hormone.
The way we have been using our phone, it is definitely mentionable that we have become addicted to it. If you are a phone addicted person and someone who is alcohol addicted person, both of your brains are equally devastated. You might be thinking that phone addiction and alcohol addiction both are quite distinctive. They're different. But in reality, there's no difference between a phone addiction, gambling addiction, social media addiction, or alcohol addiction. I mean, addiction is addiction. To make something addiction, our brain actually follows a simple pattern, which is psychologically named as a dopamine pattern. I mean, dopamine playing as a crucial role here to form an addiction. Let's talk about dopamine a little bit, otherwise things will get pretty difficult to understand when we're talking about addiction. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter. The work of neurotransmitter is to send message to one neuron to another neuron. The dopamine is working as a neurotransmitter here, not as a hormone actually. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter produced in the brain, and many people thought that dopamine actually gives us pleasure. When we actually do something, we get pleasure because of dopamine. But after doing several researchers found that dopamine is not something which actually gives us pleasure. Instead, endorphin is something which is responsible for giving us pleasure. Endorphin gives us pleasure, not the dopamine. So dopamine working as a motivator here. When you anticipate, your brain actually releases dopamine, and this is how dopamine actually works. There's a few more neurotransmitters in our brain, which is like serotonin, which works as a mood stabilizer, oxytocin, which also called as a love hormone. So those are also the neurotransmitter like dopamine. So the real name of dopamine is not dopamine actually. Dopamine is an abbreviation. The real name of dopamine is a dihydroxyphenethylamine, which abbreviation is dopamine here. And dopamine is like a cathyl chain made of one amino group attached with two hydroxyl group. So dopamine actually playing a significant, crucial role here to form an addiction. To make something addiction, dopamine is the main culprit here. When you actually anticipate something, dopamine actually released in the brain. When your brain actually finds a little bit of reward at something, your brain actually make that note, and your brain wants that particular activity over and over again. It's quite a bit of confusing to understand, but let me give you a story. Imagine your father is coming back home after like 1 month. Now he's coming back home. He called you that, hey, I'm coming back home and I'm bringing Coca-Cola for you. The first time ever, you have never drinking Coca-Cola before, and your father is coming back home, plus he's bringing some chocolates. He's also bringing Coca-Cola for you. You have never drink Coca-Cola before. So he's coming and he's bringing Coca-Cola for you. When you think about your father that he's coming and he's bringing favorite Coca-Cola for you, you actually anticipate inside of you. You were eagerly waiting for your father, and during this moment, your brain actually produces dopamine, which actually excites you, which actually gives you motivation to wait for your father. And just right after your father comes back home and gives you the reward, I mean the Coca-Cola, you actually get the reward and your brain actually loves it. Your brain actually produces dopamines, and then your brain actually made tolerance with that particular activity. So if your brain gets a little bit of dopamine at something, a little bit of pleasure at something, your brain actually make it a note, and then your brain will more likely to want that thing over again. So if you first time ever drink Coca-Cola, you are more likely to drink Coca-Cola over again. So this is how our brain actually functions. Our brain actually produces dopamine at every single activity we do in our daily life. For instance, you're reading book, you are getting dopamine. You're eating something, you're getting dopamine. You're watching TV, you're getting dopamine. And actually dopamine released in every single activity, but there should be balanced out, because lack of dopamine or too much excessive dopamine can have some negative effect on our human brain. If some activity gives you too much dopamine, you are more likely to get addicted to that activity. And this is why there are so many people around us who are like alcohol addicted, phone addicted, gambling addicted, gaming addicted, because their brain is producing too much dopamine at that particular activity and they're getting addicted to that thing. When you get dopamine at first time, your brain actually enjoys the moment and your brain actually makes that thing a note, and later your brain will want to get that thing over again. So if you first time ever if you drink Coca-Cola, you're more likely to want Coca-Cola over again. Your father giving you Coca-Cola again, next day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and he continues this process for like 1 month. Will Coca-Cola be the same taste, be the same pleasurable, be the same enjoyable for you if you continue this process for a month? I mean, listen, you're like drinking Coca-Cola every single day for like 1 month. Coca-Cola shouldn't be that much enjoyable like the first day, because your brain actually got used to that thing, and now your brain wants something beyond Coca-Cola. I mean, your brain is now craving for something too much, more than Coca-Cola, which will give the same amount of pleasure. Again, like it's quite a bit of difficult to understand, but if you're like average phone user, I mean your phone is not that kind of expensive and you want an iPhone, and now iPhone 16 has already been launched, but you have brought an iPhone 10. So if you brought an iPhone 10 now in 2025, you're more likely to get happy because you have been using a slow phone before, and now you have brought an iPhone 10 and you are more likely to get happy with your phone, with your iPhone 10, and you are more likely to show that phone to your friends, to your family members, that I have brought a new phone. And then after using that iPhone 10 for like 2 years, iPhone 10 won't be that much more enjoyable anymore because you have been using iPhone 10 for 2 years, and now your brain is craving for iPhone 16 Pro Max. So if you are an iPhone user, the only way to get pleasure is to get outside of iPhone and buy a Samsung S25 Ultra. This is how actually our brain functions. This is how actually our body works. I mean, in this world, there's no activity which will give you that amount of pleasure every single time. I mean, over the repetition is giving you that amount of that same pleasure. Just imagine, first time ever, you are drinking a little bit alcohol, like 2 drops of alcohol. 2 drops of alcohol will give you a big kick. Like the pleasure your brain will get with that amount of alcohol is big. The next day, you have to drink a little bit more. Then the next day, more, like this actually continues. And then if you are drinking alcohol for like years, then you have to drink a whole bottle of alcohol to get a little bit of pleasure. This is how actually our brain works. Our brain actually creates tolerance with that particular activity, and then the tolerance actually wants more and more to get the same amount of pleasure over the repetition. The more we repeat, the more tolerance our brain actually makes. This is what called psychologically the hedonic treadmill. It's pretty easy to understand that first time ever you are opening phone. You're unlocking your phone with Face ID and you're opening Facebook. Your first time ever uploaded a post on Facebook, and then people are liking your video. Oh, 32 likes. People have watched my post 32 times. That's a great amount of audience. I mean, First time ever you have uploaded videos on YouTube and people are giving you likes, comments, shares. This is what giving your brain a little bit of like dopamine. We actually get addicted to phone quite easily because phone is giving us excessive amount of dopamine compared to other activities like study. Phone is giving excessive amount of pleasure compared to other activities. This is why most people are getting addicted to phone compared to other activities like studying or playing sports. So you might be thinking, if neurological process of every single activity are the same, so why we don't get addicted to study? Why we don't get addicted to prayer? Why don't we get addicted to working out? I mean exercising. Why we don't get addicted to good things? I mean getting addicted to study, getting addicted to namaz or salat is next to impossible, because to make an addiction, our brain actually follows two reasons, and two reasons are biologically or neurologically the most important thing. So here's something. The first one, which is ease of access, and second one, which is instant gratification. And instant gratifications depends on time. I mean, if a particular activity gives you too much dopamine in a very short amount of time, the more likely you will get addicted to that activity. Again, pretty difficult to understand this concept. Let me explain you. Phone is easily accessible. You don't need to do anything fancy to get the phone. I mean, the phone is just in front of you. Just grab the phone, unlock with Face ID, and just right after you unlock the phone, you can easily open up Facebook and get a bunch of videos, bunch of dopamines. And this is why phone is easily accessible. And secondly, phone is offering you instant gratifications. Those YouTube short videos, those Facebook reels, those funny videos, those comedies, those Netflix movies actually giving you bunch of dopamines. I mean, they're offering you infinite amounts of videos. Like for instance, TikTok. You don't need to do anything to get TikTok. Your brain actually getting quick dopamine, and this is why phone is one of our addictions. And this can be compared to alcohol too. If there's alcohol shop just in front of your home, then you're more likely to get addicted to alcohol, because alcohol is easily accessible, and if you ever drink alcohol first time ever, your brain will get too much dopamine. Too much means lots of dopamine. You are more likely to get addicted to that. We actually cannot get addicted to good things. For instance, study. We cannot become addicted to study because it is next to impossible, because study is not easily accessible. You need to quit your bed, you need to get up from your bed, then you need to sit on chair and do some math workouts. Study is not giving you instant gratification. You need to waste a lot of time, like 2 hours. After 2 hours of deep work session, then you can get some dopamine. And this is why it is pretty difficult to get addicted to study or namaz, because namaz requires time, namaz requires patience, and the more dopamine you will get at particular activity within a very short amount of time, the more you're likely to get addicted to that activity. This is quite simple. This is why we cannot get addicted to study or namaz compared to we easily get addicted to phone or gambling or social media addiction. But the horrendous thing, the most horrifying news is that those applications like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, those applications were designed like a trap hole for us. I mean, the more you waste your time, the more you waste your precious time on those applications, the more they will earn money. And this is why we became easily addicted to that activity. I mean, they played a psychological game. What kind of contents we like, what kind of dopamine will make us addicted to those applications, and they played big mind games, which actually making us easily addicted, making us easily fall victims of those activities, of those applications quite easily. And they are earning their money, they are earning their profits, because we're wasting our precious time on those applications. And now, actually, the most horrifying thing is that you can get endless amounts of videos on there, like infinite amounts of videos on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. The TikTok was first introduced in 2016 in China actually. So when the TikTok actually arrives, YouTube was the most famous platform of video sharing, but YouTube was a platform of long form content. Here's something, time plays a crucial role. I have already said you that thing. Long form videos, people are not like that kind of addicted to YouTube. And then when actually TikTok arrived and they were offering short form videos but endless amount of video. I mean, you don't need to do anything fancy. All you need to do just scroll down and next video will automatically come to your feed. And the most horrifying thing is that TikTok was the first application to introduce the short form video. And when you're watching 1 minute comedy videos, funny videos, your brain actually getting too much dopamine within a very couple of few moments of time. And this is why people are getting addicted to TikTok compared to people like getting addicted to YouTube or Facebook. Facebook was also like that. Facebook was nothing more than a social media, but now things have been changed. Facebook has also become a video sharing platform, and they also introduced Facebook Reels. YouTube introduced YouTube Shorts because they started to understand the human psychology that we people actually can focus on long form videos, and they're offering a short form videos more than long form, and we're easily getting addicted to that. And when the TikTok was first introduced in 2016, YouTube first introduced their short videos in 2020. Facebook also introduced their Facebook Reels. Like when you're constantly watching short form videos, your brain actually losing the capacity, the power to focus on something which is long form. You can imagine this by quite easily that when you were a kid, you could easily focus on a particular activity like for months or years. But now you can focus even on a single video like this. And I can guarantee you that like most of the people have quit this video, they're watching another videos. And if you're still watching these videos, that means you can become successful in your life, I swear. The second disadvantage of using phone, which is like wasting time. I mean, time is the precious thing in our life. And we have been wasting our time unnecessarily on this kind of phone. Unnecessarily, subconsciously we have been like wasting our time on these kind of platforms. So what can we actually do now? What are the solutions when you have already become addicted to those activities? To form something addiction, we need two things. The first one is ease of access. The second one, which is the instant gratification. And to break an addiction, you need to do the opposite of these two things, which is the removing the ease of access, and the second thing, which is removing the instant gratification and making it longer. I mean, if you wanna break your phone addiction, the only thing you could do is to turn off all kinds of notifications. Imagine you're focusing on a single project, focusing on your study. In the meantime, your phone is popping up because notifications are coming. Someone have liked on your videos on YouTube, and you're actually getting distracted. And as I have already said you earlier, that we people actually touch our phone more than 2,600 times a day. So why we need any kind of like third-party notifications to make us aware of that? So this is why I have actually turned off every single application's notification. Just go to a setting and turn off notifications for all apps. This will change the game. The second one, which is pretty obvious, which is remove Face ID and Touch ID. And if you have Face ID, like the iPhone users, you should be removing that Face ID because you can easily unlock your phone with the face, which actually creates the ease of access. You can easily now access your phone. So remove the Face ID so that you can put your password, which actually removes the ease of access and makes it quite a bit like less accessible. So remove all the Face ID and Touch ID from your phone. The third one is the most crucial part, which is start watching long form videos. When you're watching long form videos like 10-minute video, 20-minute video, 30-minute video, your brain actually getting used to those long form videos, and your brain actually improving its capacity to hold focus at particular activity for a long amount of time, which is pretty rare these days. So don't watch any kind of short form videos and start watching long form videos. And if you continue this thing for like 21 days, you are more likely to break the phone addiction, and you can become successful in your life, because most of the people are wasting that precious time on the phone. And if you just like do a little bit of job and get out of the phone addiction, you can do something special in this life. So if you are watching this video now, thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. I hope this video helped you. If you learned something new in this video, definitely thumbs up the video, smash the like button, and subscribe to this channel if you want to join the party. Thank you so much.